My beloved child, you were not supposed to see this message by accident. I summoned you here, not through noise or chance, but through every tear you've hidden, every silent prayer you whispered when you thought no one was listening. You have reached the edge of something divine, and I could not let you cross it without speaking to you first. Listen to me. Your test is over. Yes, the season of proving, of pressing, of walking through fire, it has reached its conclusion. You may not feel it yet, but heaven already knows. The page has turned. The shift has begun. I see you, my child. I see every moment you thought you were alone. I see the weight you carry at 3 a.m., your mind racing with questions you're afraid to speak. I see you in the shower, letting water mix with your tears. I see you in parking lots, gripping the steering wheel, gathering strength to walk inside and pretend everything is fine. I know the exhaustion in your bones that sleep cannot touch. I know you have smiled while your heart broke. I know you have encouraged others while feeling empty. I know you have given love when you felt unloved. I know you have held on when every voice said to let go. Every tear I collected, every prayer I recorded, every cry I answered in ways you could not see. You thought I was silent, but I was orchestrating. You thought I was distant, but I was defending you from battles you never saw. You thought I had forgotten, but I was preparing the answer you're about to receive. Let me tell you about Joseph. At 17, I gave him dreams of greatness, visions of leading, promises of purpose. His own brothers, consumed by jealousy, threw him into a pit. They stripped his coat, the symbol of his father's love, and sold him as a slave. Everything familiar disappeared. His language, his home, his family, his freedom, gone. In Egypt, he chose excellence when he had every reason to quit. He honored me when no one watched. Potiphar saw my favor on him and promoted him. But when Potiphar's wife pursued him, he refused to compromise. She lied. He went to prison for doing the right thing. From pit to slavery to prison. Year after year in that dungeon, 2 men joined him. He interpreted their dreams. The butler was released. Joseph asked, "Remember me?" The butler walked into freedom. 2 full years passed. The butler never mentioned him. Joseph sat forgotten, wondering if the dreams were real or foolish imagination. That is exactly where you have been, my beloved. You thought you were doing everything right, but the reward never came. Your integrity got you punished instead of promoted. Your faithfulness was overlooked. Year after year, nothing changed. And the enemy whispered lies. He told you the dream was dead. He told you that you missed your moment. He told you your suffering proved I had abandoned you. But Joseph was not in that prison because I forgot him. He was there because I was positioning him. Every year was not wasted. It was essential training. He learned leadership by being stripped of titles. He learned to trust me in darkness so he could lead with wisdom in light. He learned that favor from men is temporary, but favor from God is unshakable. When the time was perfect, I brought Pharaoh a dream no one could interpret. And the butler finally remembered. In one day, Joseph went from prisoner to prime minister, from forgotten to called by name, from chains to a throne. The delay was not denial, it was divine design. The waiting was not wasting, it was preparation. And the same God who remembered Joseph in that prison cell has not forgotten you in your place of waiting, my beloved child. Listen to me carefully. You prayed for relief from the pain. I am bringing you complete restoration. You prayed for a job, an opportunity, a chance. I am bringing you a calling, an elevation, a divine appointment. You prayed for enough to pay the bills. I am bringing you overflow that will allow you to be a blessing. You prayed for a relationship. I am bringing you a covenant connection. You prayed for healing. I am bringing you wholeness. You prayed for an answer. I am bringing you understanding. You see, my child, You were measuring my faithfulness by your current circumstances, but I was measuring your readiness by the depth of your surrender. You were judging my goodness by your feelings, but I was judging your maturity by your faithfulness. You were questioning my timing by the clock on your wall, but I was perfecting my timing by the condition of your heart. Joseph could not have ruled Egypt at 17 years old. The position would have destroyed him. The power would have corrupted him. The responsibility would have crushed him. The praise would have inflated his ego. The authority would have blinded him to his need for me. He would have used the throne for himself instead of saving nations. He would have wielded power for his glory instead of my purposes. But at 30 years old, after 13 brutal years of testing, after the pit and the slavery and the false accusation and the prison, after being stripped and broken and refined, he was ready. Not just ready to receive the blessing, but ready to sustain it with wisdom, ready to steward it with humility, ready to use it for the redemption and salvation of many, including the very brothers who betrayed him. That is the difference. At 17, he would have ruled for himself. At 30, he ruled for me. And that is why you waited, my precious child. Not because you failed some test. Not because I was angry or disappointed or disinterested. You waited because I was making you unbreakable. I was developing in you a strength that cannot be shaken by praise or destroyed by criticism. I was forging in you a faith that does not depend on your feelings, but stands firm on my promises. I was establishing in you a character that can carry what I'm about to release without being destroyed by it. I was teaching you to worship me in the wilderness so that you won't abandon me in the promised land. I was breaking your dependence on people so that you will depend fully on me. I was removing your need for applause so that you will seek only my approval. I was testing your faithfulness in obscurity so that you can handle visibility with humility. I was purifying your motives in the hidden place so that your impact in the public place will be authentic. Every no you received was protecting you from something that looked good, but would have derailed your destiny. Every delay was adding another layer of depth to your foundation. Every closed door was redirecting you toward the door I had already prepared. Every betrayal was teaching you who to trust. Every loss was making room for what I'm about to give. So when you look at your life right now, stop seeing what's missing and start seeing what's being prepared. That relationship that ended, that job you lost, that opportunity that slipped away, that door that slammed shut in your face. Stop calling it rejection and start seeing it as redirection. That closed door was not God saying no to you. It was God saying, not that one, I have something better. It was God saving you from something that would have derailed your destiny, distracted you from your purpose, destroyed what I'm building in you. That person who walked away, the one you cried over, the one you thought you couldn't live without. Stop seeing them as your loss and start seeing them as my protection. They could not go where I'm taking you. They would not have celebrated what I'm giving you. They would have become a weight around your ankle when I called you to fly. So I removed them before they could damage what I was developing. That business that failed, that investment that collapsed, that financial disaster that devastated you. Stop calling it the worst thing that ever happened and start seeing it as preparation for the wealth I'm about to entrust to you. You had to learn stewardship in the small before I could give you responsibility in the large. You had to learn dependence on me before I could release independence in your finances. You had to learn to be faithful with nothing so I could trust you with everything. That sickness you battled, that diagnosis that terrified you, that season of physical weakness. Stop seeing it as meaningless suffering and start seeing it as the fire that burned away everything false and left only what is eternal. You learn to value life. You learn to prioritize what matters. You learned that your strength comes from me, not from your own abilities. You learned compassion for others who suffer. You developed a testimony that will bring healing to thousands. Every single thing you thought was working against you was actually working for you. Every delay was divine design, not divine denial. Every setback was set up for a comeback. Every loss was making space for something greater. Every no from man was protecting you for yes from God. Every closed door was redirecting you to the right door. Every betrayal was revealing who not to trust. Every disappointment was an appointment with deeper character. Every tear was watering seeds you didn't even know you planted. Every prayer you thought went unanswered was actually being answered in a way beyond what you asked. Every moment you felt abandoned, I was working behind the scenes. Every time you felt forgotten, I was fighting battles you never saw. Every day you felt like giving up, I was sustaining you with strength you didn't know you had. Do you hear me, my beloved? You are not who you were when this test began. You have been transformed in the furnace. Where you once sought approval from people, you now walk in the confidence of my approval. Where you once measured your worth by achievement, you now know your value comes from my love. Where you once needed everything to make sense, you now trust me in the mystery. Where you once fell apart at every obstacle, you now stand firm, knowing I am working even in the silence. Where you once depended on people, you now depend on me. Where you once needed recognition, you now just need obedience. Where you once chased provision, you now rest in my promise. Where you once lived in fear, you now walk in faith. Where you once were a victim, you now are a victor. Where you once were a servant, you now are a son. Where you once were in bondage, you now are walking in freedom. This is why your test is over. Not because the circumstances have suddenly changed, but because you have changed. You passed. You didn't quit. You didn't compromise. You didn't give up. You endured when quitting would have been easier and everyone would have understood. You forgave when bitterness had every legal right to stay. You kept giving when you had nothing left to give. You kept believing when every sign said stop. You kept worshiping when the music died. You kept praying when heaven seemed silent. You kept walking when the path disappeared. You kept standing when everything in you wanted to fall. You kept loving when it cost you everything. You kept trusting when trust seemed foolish. And heaven has been watching every single moment. Angels have been recording every single choice. And the Father has been preparing your reward with joy. Listen closely, my beloved child. What was heavy is lifting right now. What was locked is opening at this very moment. What was silent is now speaking to your spirit. Can you feel it? There is a trembling in your spirit, and it is not fear. It is anticipation. It is recognition. It is your spirit sensing what your mind does not yet fully understand. That is glory waking up inside of you. That is resurrection power breaking through the tomb of your past. That is anointing pushing up through the soil of your waiting. That is the sound of chains falling off, one link at a time. That is the sound of prison doors unlocking. That is the sound of heavens opening. That is the sound of angels being dispatched. That is the sound of your name being called from the throne room. You have been standing at the edge of breakthrough for weeks, maybe months, sensing something is about to shift, but not knowing exactly what or when. This is your moment. This is your answer. This is your hour. Your test is over and your testimony is about to begin. But let me address the lies you've been battling. The enemy has been whispering that you're not worthy of this blessing. He's been reminding you of every failure, every mistake, every sin, every moment of weakness. He's been showing you the highlight reel of your lowest moments and telling you that disqualifies you from my promises. Listen to me. You are not defined by your worst day. You are not limited by your biggest mistake. You are not disqualified by your darkest moment. You are not identified by your past. You are mine. You are washed. You are cleansed. You are forgiven. You are chosen. You are called. You are appointed. You are anointed. You are qualified not by your perfection but by my grace. Not by your strength but by my power. not by your righteousness, but by the righteousness of my Son that covers you completely. The enemy says you're too broken. I say you're being rebuilt. The enemy says you're too damaged. I say you're being restored. The enemy says you're too far gone. I say you're right where I can reach you. The enemy says you failed too many times. I say my mercies are new every morning. The enemy says you don't deserve this. I say that's exactly why I'm giving it to you, because it's grace, not wages. The enemy says you're not strong enough. I say my strength is made perfect in your weakness. The enemy says you're not smart enough. I say I will give you wisdom that confounds the wise. The enemy says you're not qualified. I say I don't call the qualified, I qualify the called. The enemy says you're too old. I say it's never too late for my plans. The enemy says you're too young. I say, don't let anyone despise your youth. The enemy says you've wasted too much time. I say I will restore the years the locusts have eaten. Who are you going to believe? The accuser or your advocate? The liar or the truth? The thief or the giver of every good gift? Choose this day. Because what I'm about to do will require you to walk in the identity I've given you, not the labels others have placed on you. You are not what your past says. You are what my word says. You are not what your mistakes declare. You are what my sacrifice declares. You are not what your circumstances suggest. You are what my promises guarantee. You are not what people call you. You are what I call you. And I call you beloved. I call you chosen. I call you mine. I call you free. I call you healed. I call you delivered. I call you blessed. I call you favored. I call you anointed. I call you victorious. My beloved child, I need you to understand what happens now. The season ahead will not look like the season behind. Let me tell you what you're about to experience. Where you once had to fight and claw and struggle for every inch of progress, things will begin to flow. Opportunities will come looking for you instead of you chasing them. Provision will show up before you even ask. Solutions will present themselves before problems fully form. Where doors were once slammed in your face with painful rejection, they will swing wide open before you even knock. Gatekeepers who once ignored you will suddenly see you. People who once overlooked you will seek you out. Invitations you never pursued will find you. Favor you never earned will locate you. Where you once had to explain yourself, prove your worth, convince people of your value, you will simply be recognized. Your presence will carry weight. Your words will carry authority. Your anointing will be unmistakable. People will know there's something different about you without you having to say a word. Where finances were once tight, stressful, a constant source of anxiety, provision will come from directions you never expected. Unexpected checks, surprise opportunities, divine connections. Debt will be canceled, bills will be paid, needs will be met. And beyond just meeting your needs, there will be overflow. Enough to save, enough to give, enough to be a blessing instead of always needing to be blessed. Where relationships were once draining, difficult, one-sided, exhausting, you will be surrounded by people who see you, truly see you, people who value you, people who celebrate you instead of tolerating you, people who add to your life instead of depleting it, covenant connections instead of casual contacts, deep relationships built on mutual honor instead of shallow associations built on convenience, people who sharpen you instead of dulling your edge, people who call out your greatness instead of highlighting your weaknesses. Where your health was once failing, strength will return. Energy you haven't felt in years will flood back. Mental clarity will replace the fog. Hope will replace depression. Peace will replace anxiety. Joy will return to your mornings. You will wake up and actually look forward to the day instead of dreading it. Physical ailments that have plagued you will lose their grip. Medications you thought you'd take forever will no longer be needed. Healing that doctors said was impossible will manifest. This is not wishful thinking, my child. This is not positive psychology or motivational hype. This is prophetic declaration. What I am speaking is already in motion in the realm of the Spirit. The angels are already moving. The provision is already being released. The people are already being positioned. The doors are already beginning to crack open. The shift has begun. And what begins in the Spirit will soon manifest in the natural. You will see it with your eyes. You will touch it with your hands. You will experience it in your daily life. This is your moment of transition from testing to testimony, from trial to triumph, from wilderness to promised land, from prison to palace. But I want to warn you about something, and hear me clearly on this. The enemy will try to convince you that this word is too good to be true. He will whisper that you're reading too much into it, that you're getting your hopes up only to be disappointed again, that this is just another false promise, another dead end, another cruel joke. He will remind you of all the other times you thought breakthrough was coming and nothing happened. He will point to your track record of unanswered prayers. He will show you your bank account, your medical reports, your current relationships, your present circumstances, and say, does any of this look like blessing to you? Does any of this look like your test is over? He will try to use your current reality to cancel my prophetic word over your future. Do not believe him. He is a liar and the father of lies. He has been lying to humanity since the Garden of Eden, and he has not changed his tactics. He whispered to Eve, "Did God really say?" And he's whispering to you right now. Did God really say your test is over? Did God really say breakthrough is here? Did God really say you're about to walk in favor? Yes, I did say it. And what I have spoken, no demon in hell can reverse. What I have decreed, no circumstance on earth can cancel. What I have promised, I will perform. My word does not return void. My plans cannot be thwarted. My purposes will stand. The enemy will also tell you that you're not worthy of this, that you're not qualified, that you've failed too many times, sinned too deeply, wasted too many years, made too many mistakes. He will parade your past in front of you like a prosecuting attorney presenting evidence. He will remind you of every time you doubted, every time you complained, every time you gave up hope, every time you sinned, every time you failed. And he will say, someone like you doesn't deserve breakthrough. Someone like you doesn't get favor. Someone like you should just accept that this is as good as it gets. But here's what you need to remember. You are not qualified by your track record. You are qualified by my grace. You are not made righteous by your performance. You are made righteous by my Son's sacrifice. You are not chosen because you're perfect. You are chosen because I love you. Period. End of discussion. When Pharaoh called for Joseph, do you think anyone in that throne room said, "Wait, we need to check his background first. We need to make sure he's qualified. We need to see his resume"? No. When heaven decrees your moment, no weapon formed against you will prosper. No obstacle will stand. No enemy will prevail. No delay will last another second. No door will remain closed. You are coming out of that prison, and you are coming out with everything hell tried to steal from you. Your joy, your peace, your hope, your faith, your health, your relationships, your finances, your purpose, your calling, your destiny. All of it is being restored, and it's being restored with interest. Now, I am going to ask you to do something important. This is not a ritual or a religious obligation. This is a spiritual act of alignment. When you confess with your mouth what you believe in your heart, you activate the power of agreement between earth and heaven. Your words matter. Your declaration matters. And in this moment, I want you to speak your faith aloud, not for my benefit, but for yours. Faith is not a feeling. It is a decision to trust what I have said even when you cannot see it yet. So here is what I need you to do. In just a moment, I am going to ask you to go to the comments and type these exact words. Jesus, my test is over and my breakthrough is here. Do not type it casually. Type it as an act of worship. Type it as a declaration of trust. Type it as a public testimony that you believe what I have spoken. When you do this, you are not just commenting on a video. You are agreeing with heaven. You are partnering with my plan. You are stepping into alignment with what I have already set in motion. Go now. Type it. I will wait. Now, my child, before you continue, I want to lead you in prayer. This is not just any prayer. This is a prayer of transition, a prayer of release, a prayer that seals what has been spoken and activates what is coming. Pray with me now, out loud if you can, and let your spirit connect with mine. Lord Jesus, I thank you for seeing me through the fire. I thank you for not abandoning me in the test. I thank you that my test is over and my breakthrough has begun. I confess that I have doubted your timing. I have questioned your goodness. I have felt forgotten and overlooked. Forgive me for the moments I lost hope. Forgive me for the times I believed the lies of the enemy more than the promises in your word. Help me to trust you completely from this moment forward. Fill me with faith that cannot be shaken. Remove every ounce of fear, doubt, and unbelief from my heart. I choose to believe that what was delayed is now delivered. I choose to trust that what was silent is now speaking. I declare that I am entering a season of overflow, favor, and restoration. I declare that chains are breaking, doors are opening, and heaven is moving on my behalf. In your mighty name I pray. Amen. For more biblical teaching and encouragement straight from the heart of God, subscribe now. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a message meant for your breakthrough. God bless you, my beloved child. And remember, your test is over.